Hello guys, I thought we'd have a little sit down if you got 10-15 minutes to spare. A little bit of my history. I'm 64 years old now. All my uncles, my father and all my uncles, at least quite a few of them, my cousins, most of them are all professional mechanics. I never chose that route. I went into printing, even though I like to work on stuff, cars and trucks and whatnot. I was a master engraver. I did that actually all my life, for 42 years. I retired when I was 59. But this video is more about Craftsman, how Craftsman's got involved in my life. My father had his own garage, he had his own business, and that's basically, he had Craftsman SK. That's the way it was in the 70s and 80s, back then, where I'm from. Good old Massachusetts. My Uncle Dick, he was into it. He had a garage for a while, and my cousins were all, actually I had a girl cousin that was a mechanic for a while at Sears, I think. And so it was always in my blood. My father, I didn't grow up with my father. My mother left my father when I was a young guy, I was about 8 years old. So I didn't grow up with my father. I'm sure if I did, it might have been different as far as what I chose, the path I chose. But I never did, in the beginning, I didn't really work on anything. I didn't have any tools, first of all. I didn't have a lot of interest in it. And then when I turned 18, 19, I started driving, had my own stuff. I was using butter knives, steak knives to cut hoses, butter knives for screws, and I had a couple of crude wrenches that some of my friends had. I had very, very little tools. So when I was about 19, I started going to Sears stores, and I got hooked. I bought a little teeny toolbox, and I bought a little screwdriver set. The ones that smell funny, we all bought those. And I started going to Sears stores every Wednesday. I went to Sears stores every Wednesday for at least 10, 12, 14 years. I ain't kidding you. Every week on payday, which was Wednesday. And I just started buying tools, and then eventually the toolbox got to be too small. And I bought a little roll-away with the cabinet underneath and a chest. That was about maybe 9 drawers, maybe total. It was small compared to what I got now, but I filled that up in about 2 or 3 years. And then I got another Craftsman, and another, just kept getting bigger in my toolboxes. But I bought so many things at Sears stores. I was there every week, and it was like a kid in a candy store. I loved it. I loved going there. And I wanted to share a funny story. This is true. I was probably about, maybe late 20s, early 30s. And I went there on a Friday night. Yeah, I had a couple beers in me, so take that into consideration. And I can't believe I'm telling you this, but, I was young. I was full of piss and vinegar. And we were in a Sears store, me and my other friend. I won't mention his name. And it had these new creepers out. I had the old Craftsman creeper with the steel wheels. You guys know what I'm talking about. The old wooden we just lay on in a crude little pillow for your head. It came out, those brand new NASCAR and Daytona jacks and creepers. And I think it was like green in color or something. So my friend and I get this great idea. He put it on the floor. He's playing around to see how it rolls. And he said, "Boy, this thing's awesome. This will is a lot better than what you got, Jeff." I says, "Really?" I said, let's prove this out. Let's see about that. So I took the old style, the old wooden ones with the crude steel wheels, and we got side by side on the floor. And we started racing down the aisles on a busy Friday night. Side by side, laying on creepers, going from aisle to aisle. And yeah, the creeper he had those rubber wheels. He was a little bit better. I couldn't quite keep up with him, but he took a corner wide, and he smashed into a great big display of WD-40 little oil spray cans. Knocked them all over the floor. And there must have been 100 of them on the floor. And we got off the creepers really fast and looked around. Geez, anybody see that? Yeah, about 4 or 5 people saw it, including the manager. The manager went nuts on us. He nicely threw us out. He said, "Go home. Did enough damage today. I don't want to see you doing that again." But I didn't do it really, but I was involved with it, so I was part of it. And he took a corner wide and smashed right into the WD-40 display. That's a true story, guys. I thought it was funny. I wanted to share that with you, but I bought so many things here. I got a couple things here that you might not have ever seen, maybe. I'll bring up the camera here. Just a couple Craftsman tools. You hear me this long. This was a stud remover. Do you guys remember that? Made in USA. This removes studs. It had a big cam inside of it, and you can see it. You put a 1/2-inch drive extension on there with a ratchet, and you can tell it was used. You can see how it's got some damage to some of the gear, some of the threads on it. You can see it. This thing was used. I bet you that's pretty rare. I don't think I've ever seen another one. That stud remover. Just a couple things to show you. How about these hose players? I got 2 of these, by the way, and these are old Craftsman. If you can see it, try to bring up the camera there. Here you go, USA. They had double position. I still use these sometimes. Back then, when you had the radiator hoses, you could get at them, you know, back in the 80s and stuff. You know, like the lower one especially, or upper. I use these all the time. You always distributor wrenches. I still use one on my Chevelle. I think this one's a 9/16. That's the one I use, a 9/16. Yeah, this is the 9/16 one. And you'll probably see it right there. I still use this one on my Chevelle. If it's coming in there, can you see it? 9/16. These are old guys, made in USA. You don't need those anymore unless you got old cars. Good old Sears, guys. I went there every day for years and years and years. What about the brake shoe players? You don't have use for those too much anymore. Although there's still cars that got brake drums. You know, where I live, the brake calipers in the back, they always seize up and they have problems with them. You know, because of the salt belt. But those are old. Use them on my Chevelle. That's for the top pin there. When you put it around the mount, it's got the little cam on it. You turn it to put the springs off and on. Still use it for that. Just wanted to show you a couple of things you're not going to come across much. How about the old nut breakers? And these things are pretty cool because you could put an impact on them, and you could punch these out when the sharp bit got beat up, and you could change these out. You could push those out. See how it's coming out when I push it? So you could change them, because after a while those got beat up. You don't see many of those around today. That's the old Craftsman USA. How about this? My wife picked this up at a yard sale for $3. Look at that, guys. It's like brand new. You guys know what it is? Chisel holder. I don't think this thing was ever used. I haven't used it yet. Yeah, it might be a little bit. You can see a little bit in there. It's been used a little bit. This thing is nice shape. She got that for a song and a dance. Look at it. It's in wicked nice shape. That was a hell of a pickup by her. The good old Sears days. I'd spend half my paycheck every week in there. Of all my ratchets I own, this is one I love. It's a 90-tooth, fine tooth. It's got the little thumb wheel on it. It's big and bulky compared to today's standards. I've beat on this. I've used it for a hammer. I've thrown it. I think I bit on it a couple times even. And this thing has just been, I never broke it. Incredible. That's my favorite ratchet, and I own many ratchets. If you follow my channel, I got like 140 of them. I don't use it much anymore, but that's my favorite ratchet, and that's going to have the V all by itself, guys. Favorite ratchet. And behind me, other than these here and those up there, they're all vintage. I showed you some already, but I don't really think I showed these too much. These are the unpolished ones, the offset wrenches. They also had a polished version. I never had it. I used to use these a lot for struts, where you put it on the nut, and you had to hold the top of it with either an Allen socket or a T-handle to take off the pressure plate that holds down the spring. That's when I would use those a lot. That's all history, guys. I don't use them as much anymore, stuff up there. Maybe the long pattern double box sometimes. But that's my display, and that's history, guys. I'll have another sit down someday, and I'll tell you about all my scars and my injuries. I was in a lot of bad accidents when I was young, but that'll be another video. But basically, I lived in Sears stores. I know a lot of you guys did too. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about the old Sears stores. And tell me how much time you guys spent in there. And let me know if you can share any funny stories. Oh, one other thing. Somebody asked me how many CRAFTSMAN sockets I broke. That's funny because I think I only broke 4. I broke 4 sockets, guys. And I can tell you what size it was. It was a 1/2 inch. And 1/2 inch size, I broke my quarter. I broke my quarter 1/2 inch. I broke my 3/8. I broke my 1/2 inch, and I broke a deep one or something. I ran out of 1/2 inch size sockets. I broke them on a cab mount that was by the radiator support. I was putting a body lift in one of my old trucks. I broke every 1/2 inch socket I had. I brought all 4 back, no problem. Reached under the counter. Actually, they only had 2 underneath the counter. I had to go back and get me 2 more. No questions asked. What do I miss those days? So yes, I've broken CRAFTSMAN sockets. I only broke a few more, but I remember that because I broke 4 of them, all the same size, in like one day. All right, guys, that's it for today. Leave a comment below. I always get back to you. I want to thank all you guys. You guys have been great. And it's pretty humid here today in Berkshires. So I'm going to try to stay cool, and you do the same. And let me know how you like the story about the NASCAR creeper. All right, guys, take care.